there, and welcome to the Retirement Wealth Podcast. We're so glad you could join us today.
Absolutely. It's great to be here. You know, we often get questions about how to build wealth quickly for early retirement.
Right? It's such an important topic. Many folks dream of stepping away from their jobs earlier than expected, but they're not always sure how to make that happen.
Exactly, and that's what we're diving into today. We'll explore some practical strategies to help you accelerate your wealth-building journey, all while keeping your retirement goals in sight.
We'll touch on investment options, saving strategies, and even the importance of budgeting, those foundational elements that can really make a difference.
And, of course, we'll discuss how to balance risk and reward, which is crucial as you navigate your path to early retirement.
It's all about setting yourself up for success, right?
Yes, and we'll also share some real-life examples that illustrate these strategies in action.
So if you're ready to learn how to boost your wealth and get closer to that dream retirement, let's jump right in.
Sounds good. Let's get started. So Emily, the reason why it's crucial to focus on building wealth quickly for early retirement right now is really tied to a few key factors. You know, with the current economic climate, many people are feeling the pinch of inflation more than ever.
Absolutely. I mean, it seems like every time I go to the grocery store, I'm shocked by how much prices have gone up. And that's just one example.
Right? And when we talk about inflation, it's not just about groceries. It affects everything: housing, healthcare, even travel plans that retirees might have. If you're not planning ahead, your retirement savings could lose purchasing power faster than you can say retirement.
Exactly. And with the volatility in the markets lately, many folks are understandably nervous about where to invest their money. I've heard some people say they're just keeping everything in cash because they're scared of the stock market.
That can be tempting, but, that approach might not be the best long-term strategy. Cash can lose value over time due to inflation, too. It's all about finding that balance, right? You want growth, but without exposing yourself to unnecessary risks.
Right. And when we think about retirement timelines, it's essential to have a clear picture of when you want to retire. I recently spoke to someone who thought they could retire in 5 years, but with the rising costs, they're now reconsidering that timeline.
That's a common scenario. People often underestimate how much they might need as they approach retirement. And with changes to Social Security on the horizon, it's even more critical to plan effectively.
Yeah. I've read that the Social Security Trust Fund is projected to run out in the next decade. That could mean reduced benefits for future retirees. It's a wake-up call for many.
Exactly. And it's not just about Social Security. Healthcare costs are skyrocketing too. A lot of folks don't realize how much they'll need to budget for medical expenses in retirement.
Oh, definitely. I mean, just the thought of unexpected medical bills can be really daunting. I read a statistic that indicated many retirees spend about 15% of their income on healthcare. That's a lot.
It is. And when you combine that with the uncertainty in the markets and rising inflation, it can create a perfect storm of anxiety. But, addressing these concerns proactively can really help ease that anxiety.
For sure. I've heard stories from people who, despite being nervous, took the time to work with a financial planner and ended up feeling so much more secure about their future.
Yes. I had a client. Let's call him John. He was really worried about his retirement plan and how he could ensure his money lasts. After we sat down and mapped out a strategy that included a mix of investments and income planning, he felt relieved.
That's great. It's like, once you have a plan, the emotional burden lightens, right?
Exactly. And that's a big part of financial security, having a roadmap. And for many people, legacy planning is also a huge consideration.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about you. It's about what you leave behind for loved ones, right?
Exactly. With the current economic trends, many parents worry about how to support their children or grandchildren while also ensuring they have enough for themselves. It's a delicate balance.
Yeah, I can see how that would weigh on someone. But I think the key takeaway here is that it's not too late. Even if you're nearing retirement, there are still ways to build wealth quickly.
That's right. And being proactive about tax efficiency can also make a significant difference. Many people don't realize there are strategies to withdraw funds in a way that minimizes taxes.
Oh, that's a good point. It's like every little bit helps, right?
Yes, and the earlier you start implementing these strategies, the more beneficial they can be. For instance, tax-advantaged accounts can help your money grow without the immediate tax burden.
So really, it's about being informed and making the right choices now, rather than waiting until it feels too late.
Absolutely. And as we transition into discussing core strategies, it's essential to remember that building wealth for early retirement is not just about saving more money. It's about making smarter financial decisions that can have a long-term impact.
I love that. I think people need to hear that it's not just about the numbers, but also about the decisions behind those numbers.
Exactly. And with the right strategies, you can create a fulfilling retirement that not only meets your financial needs, but also allows you to enjoy your life the way you envision it.
Well said, David. Let's dive into those strategies next.
So let's dive into some of those core strategies that can really help people build wealth quickly for early retirement. One of the most important concepts is understanding asset allocation.
Right. Asset allocation is crucial. It's about how you divide your investments among different asset categories, like stocks, bonds, and cash.
Exactly. A common rule of thumb is the 70-30 portfolio, where you might allocate 70% to stocks and 30% to bonds. This can help you strike a balance between growth and stability.
And that's especially important if you're looking at a longer retirement period. You want that growth potential, right?
Absolutely. Stocks have historically provided higher returns over the long term compared to bonds, but they also come with more volatility. So it's a trade-off.
And, when considering your risk tolerance, it's good to ask yourself how comfortable you are with market fluctuations.
Right, and that leads into diversification. By spreading your investments across various sectors and asset classes, you can reduce risk.
So, for example, instead of just investing in tech stocks, you might also want some healthcare, consumer goods, and international stocks.
Yes, and also some bonds to buffer against market downturns. That way, if one sector takes a hit, you're not completely exposed.
Speaking of bonds, let's touch on tax-advantaged accounts like 401ks and IRAs. Those can really help with your retirement savings.
Absolutely. With a 401k, especially if your employer offers a match, it's like free money. You should definitely contribute enough to get that match.
Definitely. And the contribution limit for a 401k is pretty significant, like $20, $500 for 2023, and if you're over 50, you can contribute an extra $6, $500.
Right, and then there's the IRA, which has a lower limit, $6, $500 for 2023, with a $1,000 catch-up contribution if you're 50 or older.
And don't forget about Roth IRAs. They're funded with after-tax dollars, but your withdrawals in retirement are tax-free.
Exactly. It's great for people who expect to be in a higher tax bracket in retirement. It's all about planning ahead.
And let's not overlook the power of real estate as an investment. It can be a fantastic way to build wealth.
For sure. Real estate provides both cash flow and potential appreciation. Plus, there are tax advantages like depreciation.
Right. And you can leverage your investment too. So if you put down, say, 20% on property, you're controlling 100% of that asset's value.
And then, when it comes time to sell, you're potentially profiting off that whole value. Just make sure to factor in the costs of ownership, like maintenance and property taxes.
Absolutely. And then there are annuities, which can provide guaranteed income in retirement. They can be a good option for those looking for stability.
Yes, but it's important to understand the fees and the terms. Annuities can be complex, so it's wise to do your homework or consult a financial advisor.
And let's talk about Social Security. It's a vital piece of the retirement puzzle.
Right, understanding when to claim Social Security can significantly impact your benefits. The earlier you claim, the less you'll receive.
Yeah, claiming at 62 versus waiting until your full retirement age can mean a substantial difference.
Exactly. For example, if your full retirement age is 67, claiming at 62 might reduce your benefit by about 30%.
So it's often beneficial to wait as long as you can, ideally until age 70, to maximize those monthly payments.
Correct. And you want to consider your life expectancy and other income sources when making that decision.
And then there's the withdrawal strategy. The 4% rule is popular, but it's not one size fits all.
Right. The 4% rule suggests that you can withdraw 4% of your retirement savings each year without running out of money.
But that's based on historical market performance, so you need to adjust based on your personal situation and market conditions.
Exactly. Some people prefer the bucket strategy, where you divide your assets into different buckets based on when you'll need the money.
So you might have one bucket for short-term needs, one for medium-term, and one for long-term growth.
That way, you're not forced to sell investments in a down market. You can draw from your short-term bucket first.
And let's not forget about tax savings techniques. It's smart to have a strategy for withdrawals from taxable, tax-deferred, and tax-free accounts.
Yes, and being strategic about which accounts to draw from first can help minimize your tax burden over time.
Right, like taking from your taxable accounts first could allow your tax-advantaged accounts to continue growing.
Exactly, and it's good to consult with a tax professional to help navigate the best strategies for your situation.
All of these strategies work together to help build a solid financial foundation for retirement.
They do, but it's also important to be aware of common pitfalls that can derail your plans.
Absolutely. Let's transition into that. What are some of those pitfalls that listeners should watch out for?
So, Emily, let's dive into some of those common pitfalls people face when planning for retirement. You know, it's easy to get swept up in the excitement of planning for the future, but there are real risks that can derail even the best laid plans.
Absolutely, David. One of the biggest ones I see is the sequence of returns risk. It can really catch people off guard, right?
Exactly. So, to put it simply, sequence of returns risk refers to the order in which you experience investment returns. If you have a market downturn early in retirement, it can have a huge impact on your portfolio, especially if you're withdrawing money at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if someone retired in, say, 2008, and they were withdrawing from their investments, they might have really felt that pinch.
Right, and I worked with a couple, let's call them Tom and Lisa. They retired right before the financial crisis. They had a solid plan in place, but when markets dropped, they were forced to sell their investments at a loss to fund their living expenses. It was a tough lesson about the importance of a withdrawal strategy that accounts for market volatility.
Oof, that's rough. So what did they do to recover from that situation?
Well, we adjusted their portfolio to include a larger cash reserve. Enough to cover several years of expenses without needing to sell investments in a downturn. This way, they could ride out the market fluctuations without panic.
That's a smart move. Another pitfall I think is often overlooked is ignoring taxes during the withdrawal phase. Many folks just focus on how much they need to live, but forget to factor in taxes on that income.
Exactly. I had a client, Sarah, who was so excited to retire early. She had a nice nest egg, but when she started pulling from her traditional IRA, she didn't realize how much it would impact her tax bracket. She ended up paying a hefty amount in taxes, which was a real shock to her.
Wow, that's such an important point. So how can people address that?
Well, it's all about planning ahead. Understanding how withdrawals will affect your taxes can help you strategize, like maybe withdrawing from accounts with different tax implications in a certain order could minimize your overall tax liability.
That's a great tip. Healthcare costs are another area where I see a lot of folks underestimate their future expenses.
Oh, for sure. With healthcare, it's not just about the premiums. It's also about out-of-pocket expenses, long-term care, and medications. I had a couple, Jim and Carol, who thought their Medicare coverage would cover everything. They didn't factor in additional costs, and when Jim needed surgery, their out-of-pocket expenses skyrocketed.
That must have been stressful for them.
It really was. They had to dip into their retirement savings, which they hadn't planned for. I always encourage clients to do their homework on healthcare costs and consider long-term care insurance, especially as they get older.
And speaking of planning ahead, let's talk about asset allocation. I think people often misjudge their risk tolerance, especially when it comes to stocks and bonds.
Right. It's not uncommon for retirees to be overly conservative because they're afraid of losing money. I had an investor, let's call him Mike, who had most of his portfolio in cash and bonds. While he felt safe, inflation started eating away at his purchasing power.
That's such a tricky balance. So how did he adjust?
We created a diversified portfolio that included a mix of stocks, bonds, and some alternative investments. It was important for him to understand that some risk is necessary for growth, especially over a long retirement.
That's really insightful. Another mistake I see is claiming Social Security too early.
Absolutely. I had a client named Karen who was eager to claim her benefits at 62. She thought it was the best move, but she didn't fully understand how it would reduce her monthly benefit for life.
That's a common trap.
It is. After discussing her options, we helped her realize that waiting until her full retirement age would allow her to receive a much larger benefit, which would make a big difference in her overall retirement income.
So what are some red flags people can look out for in their own plans?
Great question. If you're nearing retirement and still have a lot of debt, that's a red flag. Or if you haven't updated your plan in years, you might be missing out on changes in your life or the market that could affect your strategy.
That's really important. And if someone feels overwhelmed by all of this, what should they do next?
I always advise seeking professional help. A good financial advisor can help you navigate these pitfalls and create a personalized plan. It's never too late to adjust your strategy and get on the right track.
Absolutely. It's all about being proactive rather than reactive, right?
Exactly, Emily. And remember, retirement planning is a journey. It's about making informed choices, staying educated, and adapting as life unfolds.
That's a great perspective. So let's transition to the next steps for our listeners.
Sure. The key is to start evaluating your current plan, checking for those red flags, and making necessary adjustments. Whether it's rebalancing your portfolio, assessing your withdrawal strategy, or simply educating yourself more about Social Security, taking those steps can really pay off in the long run.
Definitely. Taking action now can set you up for a more secure and enjoyable retirement down the road.
Absolutely, Emily. It's about laying a solid foundation today so you can enjoy the fruits of your labor tomorrow. All right, so let's dive into some immediate steps our listeners can take right now to get on that path toward early retirement.
That sounds great, David. I mean, where should they start?
Well, one of the first things I always recommend is to really assess your current financial situation. Take a good look at your income, expenses, and savings. Maybe set aside a day to review your budget.
Right. And, using tools can make that process smoother, right?
Exactly. There are some awesome budgeting apps out there, like Mint or YNAB, which stands for You Need a Budget. These tools can help you track your spending so you can identify areas to cut back and boost your savings.
Yeah, and once you've got a handle on that, what's next?
After that, I'd suggest looking into retirement calculators. Websites like Vanguard, Fidelity, and Schwab have great calculators that can help you project your retirement savings and see if you're on track.
Those are super helpful. And I think it's important to run those projections regularly, like quarterly, to see if you need to adjust your savings rate or investment strategy.
Absolutely. And, while you're doing that, take a moment to review your investment portfolio. Make sure it aligns with your retirement goals, and don't be afraid to make changes if you need to.
Right. It's all about staying proactive. And what about tax considerations?
Good point. I recommend checking out SSA.gov to understand your Social Security benefits and how they fit into your retirement plan. And don't forget about tax software. Programs like TurboTax can help you strategize tax-efficient withdrawals in retirement.
That's a smart move. Speaking of strategies, are there any books or podcasts you'd recommend for our listeners?
Definitely. The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins is a fantastic read for anyone looking to build wealth for retirement. And the Choosify podcast covers a lot of ground on financial independence and smart investing strategies.
Those sound really insightful. It's always good to learn from others who've been through the process.
For sure. And don't underestimate the power of small habits, too. Start by setting aside a little bit each month, even if it's just a few dollars. Gradually increasing that amount can lead to significant savings over time.
Yeah, like building a habit of saving consistently. It's all about those small wins that add up, right?
Exactly. And, consider automating your savings. Set up automatic transfers to your retirement accounts right after you get paid. It makes saving feel effortless.
That's a great tip. And speaking of accounts, should folks be reviewing their 401k or IRA contributions?
Oh, absolutely. Increase those contributions if you can, especially if your employer offers a match. That's free money, you know?
Yes. And what about expenses? Should they revisit those as well?
Definitely. Look for ways to minimize expenses, like refinancing loans or negotiating bills. Even small changes can free up more money for your retirement savings.
And it's never too late to start, right? I think that's an important message to share.
Yes, whether you're in your 30s, 40s, or even 50s, you can still make meaningful changes to improve your retirement outlook. It's all about taking those first steps.
So true. And for those interested, there are financial planning apps like Personal Capital that can help track your net worth and investments in one place.
Great suggestion. And remember, these tools and strategies are just starting points. The key is to stay engaged and informed about your finances.
Absolutely, David. This is really empowering stuff.
So those are some practical first steps. Now, let's bring this all together. Wow, Emily, what a great discussion we've had today about building wealth quickly for early retirement. I mean, we covered some really valuable strategies.
Absolutely, David. It's all about being proactive, isn't it? So if we were to sum it up, I think one key takeaway is definitely the importance of starting early. The earlier you begin saving and investing, the more time your money has to grow.
Right. And then there's the significance of diversifying your investments. It's not just about putting money into one place, but spreading it out to manage risk effectively.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the power of budgeting. Being intentional with your spending can really free up more funds for savings and investments.
For sure. Oh, and leveraging tax-advantaged accounts like IRAs and 401ks can seriously boost your wealth-building efforts too. It's all about maximizing those tax benefits.
Yeah, and I love how we talked about creating passive income streams. It's like setting up those income-generating assets that keep working for you, even when you're not actively working.
All solid points. Building and protecting your retirement wealth isn't just a dream. It's a journey, and it's completely achievable with the right strategies and mindset.
Definitely. And as we wrap up, we encourage everyone to take these insights to heart. If you found value in today's episode, please give us a like, subscribe, and comment below with your biggest takeaway or any questions you might have.
And if you know someone who's planning for or already in retirement, share this podcast with them. It could really make a difference.
Yes. And next time, we're diving into how to use insurance for wealth protection. It's going to be a fascinating discussion.
Can't wait for that one.
Until then, take care and keep building that retirement wealth.
Bye for now.